Take a second and imagine you're walking down a busy city street. Dozens of people are rushing past you. Doctors, teachers, world-class chefs, someone's grandma. You barely glance at them. In fact, you might be doing that polite city stare, where you look at everything except their eyes. But then, you spot it. A golden retriever with a slightly floppy ear sitting outside a coffee shop. Suddenly, your professional exterior evaporates. Your voice jumps 3 octaves. You're practically crouching on the pavement saying, "Who's a good boy? Who's the bestest boy in the whole world?" You don't know this dog's name, his political leanings, or his credit score, but in that moment, you feel a deeper, more instant connection with him than with any of the 500 humans you've passed today. Now, we often joke that we don't deserve dogs, or we post memes about preferring a cat's company to a party full of people. But why? Is it because they're cute? Or is there something deeper in our ancient hardware that makes us bond with a different species more easily than our own? The truth is, your relationship with animals isn't just a hobby. It's a psychological safe harbor from the complexity of being human. To understand why we bond so hard with animals, we have to look at the cost of human interaction. Human relationships are, by definition, high stakes and high complexity. When you talk to another person, your brain is running 1,000 background programs. Are they judging my outfit? Did I say the wrong thing? Do they want something from me? This is what psychologists call social evaluation anxiety. With an animal, that entire program is deleted. A dog doesn't care if you haven't showered, if you're unemployed, or if you've made an awkward comment in 2019. They offer what psychologists call unconditional positive regard. Because there's no social script to follow and no fear of judgment, your nervous system can finally drop its guard. When you're an animal, you aren't a role, you're just a presence. This lack of judgment creates a shortcut to intimacy that humans usually take years to build. It's not just in your head, it's in your blood. There is a specific chemical reason why pet owners feel so bonded to their animals, and it's the same chemical that bonds a parent to their newborn baby, oxytocin. Research has found that when humans and dogs look into each other's eyes, both species experience a massive spike in oxytocin levels. It's a literal feedback loop of love. But here's the kicker. We often get a cleaner hit of this cuddle hormone from animals than from humans. Why? Because human touch is complicated. It requires consent, timing, and social context. But when you pet a cat or hug a dog, the physical contact is simple, repetitive, and rhythmic. This lowers your cortisol, the stress hormone, and slows your heart rate almost instantly. Your brain isn't confused by the animal. It's comforted by the simplicity of the biological bond. Why do we cry more when a dog dies in a movie than when a human character does? It feels wrong to admit, but almost everyone feels it. This is due to vulnerability bias. We perceive animals as eternal children because they're nonverbal and dependent on us. We categorize them as innocent in a world where humans are seen as capable of malice, deception, or complicated motives. Animals are seen as pure. When we see a human in trouble, our brain sometimes adds conditions to our empathy. How did they get into that situation? But with an animal, the empathy is unfiltered. We relate to them more because they represent the most vulnerable, honest parts of ourselves that we often have to hide in the human world. Caring for an animal allows us to express a type of nurturing love that feels too risky to give to other people who might reject or judge us. Animals also serve as the ultimate emotional mirrors. Because they don't use words, they are incredibly sensitive to nonverbal cues. If you're stressed, your dog knows it. If you're sad, your cat might sit closer to you. This creates a feeling of being truly seen. We often feel that humans don't understand us because they're listening to our words and often misinterpreting them. But animals react to our energy. When an animal chooses to sit with you, it feels like a genuine soul-level endorsement. It's a validation of who you are at your core. Stripped of your job title or your social status, we relate to them more because in their eyes, we are exactly who we are. No explanation required. Deep down, we have to remember that we are animals. We have a neocortex for logic, but beneath that, we have a limbic system that handles survival, play, and fear. Modern human life, with its emails, taxes, and social media, is lived almost entirely in the neocortex. It's exhausting. Animals, however, live entirely in the lower brain. They are the masters of the present moment. When we play with an animal, we are plugging back into our own primal nature. We aren't thinking about the future or the past, we're just chasing a ball or watching a laser pointer. This is a form of joint attention that feels incredibly grounding. Animals remind us how to just be, and that shared biological frequency is often much more relaxing than the high-frequency chatter of human society. There is a fascinating psychological concept called the species jump. It's the idea that our empathy isn't limited by biology. In fact, many people find it easier to empathize across species lines than across cultural or political lines. Why? Because animals are universal. A wagging tail or a purr means the same thing in Tokyo as it does in New York. Human culture adds layers of otherness that make us feel distant from one another. Animals strip those layers away. Relating to an animal is a way of relating to life itself, without the baggage of human history or conflict. It's the purest form of connection available on this planet. So, is it bad if you prefer your dog to your coworkers? Not at all. It's a sign that you value emotional safety. But you can use that connection to actually become better at being human. Here's a few examples. The dog walk mindset. Try to look at the world once a day like a dog on a walk. No phone, no goals, just noticing the sights and sounds of the present moment. It's the ultimate mindfulness hack. Then try the nonverbal check-ins. Next time a friend or someone is stressed, don't try to fix it with words. Just be there, like an animal would. Sometimes sitting on the rug with someone is more powerful than any advice. And finally, there's the judgment-free zone. If you struggle with self-criticism, try to see yourself through your pet's eyes. They think you're a superhero. Maybe for 5 minutes a day, you should believe them. The truth is that we don't relate to animals instead of humans. We relate to them to remember what it's like to be human. They provide the emotional practice we need to keep our hearts open in a world that often feels cold. Your bond with your pet isn't a failure of social skills. It's a testament to your capacity for pure, uncomplicated love. They aren't just animals, and you aren't just a pet owner. You're two different species, finding a common language in a very loud world. If your pet is currently in the room with you, give them a scratch behind the ears for me. And tell me in the comments, what's the one thing your animal has taught you about being a better person? Also, hit that subscribe button.